everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name's Meredith E. Phillips and we are still working on two very different projects. If you're new around here or if you just don't happen to remember the details of my life, which honestly would be kind of rude, but let me just catch you up a tiny bit. I'm working on two different books right now. I'm in the middle of past pages for A Rogue's Guide to Winning a Wife, my debut novel that's out next year. I am almost done with the past pages. I just cracked page 100 today, this morning, and I'm working backwards, so I have, pages 100 through 0 to go through. I've been working on that steadily each morning. I've been doing 20 pages, and I'm thinking this weekend I might try to squeeze in a little extra, like do another 10 or 20 pages later today, just so I can be done with it. It's not due until June 9th. I have plenty of time. It's only the 30th. It's May 30th today. And I've got plenty of time, but I'm just like done with it. I just want to be done and hand it in. So I don't want to rush, but I could maybe do a little more later today and finish a day or two earlier. So that's project number one. Project number two is book 2 in my contract. It's the follow-up, the interconnected standalone sequel to Rogue's Guide. I have been working on that pretty much all year, really. I did all of my brainstorming and outlining January through March. I drafted in April, and now we are working through draft 2. It's going pretty well. I've been working on it, again, pretty steadily throughout this week. I'm on chapter something. What am I on? I'm on chapter 14. And as you can see from my excellent little checklist, I am in fact a little bit ahead. So I love that for me. I don't think I have any kind of particular goal for this weekend in terms of like how many chapters I want to get through. I feel like I should be able to do like 2 chapters today and 2 tomorrow, maybe, depending on what they are and how much work they need. I don't know. I don't really care as long as I'm working steadily on it. Like, again, I'm kind of ahead of where I have to be. This is just literally something I made up. This isn't something that my editor was like, you have to do it on this timetable. So the past pages are dictated by my editor. They are in fact due June 9th, period, end of story. I've made my unofficial due date for draft 2 to be finished July 17th. I do plan to finish it well before then. I'm thinking I can actually finish this probably by the end of June. So like a month from now. So yeah, we'll get started on chapter 14 very shortly. That's really kind of almost the middle of Act 2. So we're moving right along. I've had a bit of a lazy Saturday. Jade did not start whining this morning until 5:30. I slept in, so I'm feeling pretty good. And there's really nothing much I have to do this weekend other than writing and work. So that's good. I'm going to throw some laundry in before I actually get started over here. But then, yeah, I mean, other than laundry and like picking up some stuff at the grocery store, I really don't have anything else major going on. So let's get some work done this weekend. Chapter 14 is already 2,500 words, and I have quite a few things. But this is a fun chapter. They're all fun chapters. They're at the house party. How could it not be fun? Okay, the other thing, though, I've been trying very hard to keep track of while I work through book 2, because this was a question I wish I knew the answer to for Rogue's Guide. But what I'm trying to do is keep track of how many times I have reread this book. I've been asked a couple times, and I've wondered myself, like, actually, how many times have I read A Rogue's Guide to Winning a Wife? It's dozens of times, like fully all the way through, dozens of times. And so I'm trying to keep track of when I've reread it. So obviously I reread the whole thing after I was done with draft 1. Then I reread it again as I went through to take notes on each chapter and what needed to change and all that. Now I'm going through each chapter, and I'm finding that I'm actually I'm reading the whole chapter, and then I'm going in and actually doing the revisions. So I'm really kind of reading through it twice. I read through it in one pass, and then I'm reading it again as I'm going through looking for where to put in information or clarify things or whatever I need to do in the chapter. So I'll already be up to like 4 rereads by the time I'm done with draft 2. So anyway, I'm trying to keep track in some manner to see. Put your guesses in the comments below, and we'll come back in like a year when the book is actually done, and we'll see who got closest with the number of reads. So let me reread chapter 14 and see what all we need to do in this chapter. Alright, so I was trying to work and this dog just decided, time to be anxious. And when he's anxious, he likes to try to climb on your lap. He's 60 pounds though. So he's not exactly a lap dog, and he cannot be comfortable in this position. He's got his back 2 legs still on the floor, and his front 2 legs are over my leg / the arm of the chair. So we're doing great. What are you doing, Mr. Man? I don't know what set him off. He was outside, came inside, was fine. He was laying in the doorway like he does on a regular basis, and then he just got up and was like, hi, I'm ready to be anxious. I was like, great, I'm trying to work. I tried to give him a treat, didn't want it. You're a silly dog. You're a silly dog. You're a silly little dog. A silly little dog. Well, anyway, I guess this is my life now. Do we need to steal some of Jade's gabapentin? You want some gabapentin? Let's go see if he'll eat some gabapentin. Come on. Come on. Come on. Good boy. Alright. I gave him a gabapentin. I had to wrap it in pepperoni before he would eat it. So hopefully that'll kick in sooner rather than later. I don't know what set him off, but anyway, let me go ahead and get back to this and see if I can make some progress in chapter 14. Alright, it is a little after 1 o'clock. I got completely distracted and interrupted by my poor dog. I don't know what set him off, but anyway, I had to sit with him for a while. He had a little gabapentin, a little Benadryl. So he's chilled out now, which is great. He's just, I don't know if you can see him. He's still in the hallway. You can't really see him, but anyway. He's just laying in the hallway. He seems fine now, so I don't know if he heard something, but if he did, it was some dog noise I couldn't hear because I didn't hear anything. Anyway, I'm almost done with chapter 14. I'm adding a lot to this. It started out at almost 2,600 words and I'm almost to 3,500. I've added almost 900 words to this and I'm still not done. There's a little section in here, a little section. It's been kind of a long thing, but I needed a bit of resolution for one kind of minor subplot thing, and the way this scene is set up, it kind of allowed for a moment between 2 characters to happen. So I'm letting it happen, and I think it's turning out pretty good. It's just taking a long time for them to discuss matters. But their conversation is concluded, and now we're getting into like one of the more action-y portions of the scene, so that's fun. And I don't have that much more to go, question mark. Actually, yeah, I do. Gosh darn it. I still have the last like 800 words of this scene to get through. So I'm not adding anything to this last portion. I'll just be, I don't know, fleshing it out a little bit, adding some extra details where I see fit. So let me try to finish this without adding too many more words to it. Alright, I'm done with chapter 14. It's 3,700 words. That's a little... I think this is the longest chapter so far. And this doesn't seem like a kind of chapter that should be this long. Maybe it needs to be split. I don't know. It's 3,700 words for now. It's 2 o'clock. I need to stand up. But I do want to try to get into chapter 15. This one's only 1,500 words. So we can definitely add to that, but hopefully not too much. Let's stand up first though. All right, I am about maybe I don't think I'm even halfway through chapter 15, but I need to go get Jade up because it's almost 4 o'clock. I added a bit to the opening section of this chapter to kind of fill out a little more subplot stuff. There's a subplot element that is the driving reason behind why the heroine is aiming for certain goals, and you go from like seeing that subplot stuff in Act 1, like early Act 1, to never hearing about it again until like middle of Act 3. So I was like, I feel like this needs to come up at least once or twice in the middle. So I had an opportunity in this chapter to do that, so I did. I added about 500 words. Whatever. Yeah, I'll continue on in a little bit, but let's go get Jade up first. Maybe do some walking. Something else other than staring at a screen for a little while. How does that sound? Good morning. It's the next day. I actually did quite a bit more work yesterday and I didn't film anything. So listen, I did my little walking like you saw. I went to the grocery store, we had dinner, and then I was like, let me see if I can make any headway with chapter 16. Chapter 16 is a very fun chapter, and I had like a whole thing I was adding to the beginning, and then I got into the second sort of half of the chapter, and it was so fun, and I was just like on a roll. And the way this chapter ends, number one, is actually excellent, if I do say so myself. And then it leads directly into chapter 17. Chapter 17 is like the same scene, it's just a POV swap. And so like the scene was just kind of continuing it. It's not like the next day, blah, 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 blah. It's the same thing. So I was like, let me just start chapter 17 and just sort of like, you know, I'm in a groove right now. Like, let me just keep going. And then I finished chapter 17. So that went really well. Actually, I just looked. I'm lying. Hold on. I finished. I didn't lie completely. I finished. What did I finish? I finished 15 and 16. That's what I did. 16 was like the POV swap continuation. Anyway. So we're currently about halfway through Act 2, honestly. So we're really doing pretty good in terms of progress. I'm almost a week ahead of where I'm like supposed to be according to my little chart. I love that so much. That puts me on track to finish by the end of June. I'm very happy about that. We did in fact though sleep in today. We slept until 6 o'clock. Hello? Jay didn't start whining until 6. I don't know the last time that happened, frankly. Now, part of that might have been because I stayed up until 11 o'clock reading. Usually I'm like a lights out at 10 or maybe even 9:45, or if I'm really tired, like 9:30. I'm very early going to sleep, or at least turning out the light. Going to sleep is a whole other thing, but turning out the light, at least I tend to do that pretty early. This book, I'm reading Harper St. George's newest release. It's the third in a series, and she had like kind of set it up at the end of book 2, and this is book 3. The setup for this book was unbelievably good, and I was like, I hope she delivers, and man, she is delivering on the premise. It's fantastic. So anyway, I had to force myself to stop reading at 11. I was like, put it down. I'm like 70% of the way through it, and it just came out on Tuesday, which is great. Like, I usually take a while to read books because I'm only reading like a little bit in the evenings. Oh man, I'm very much enjoying it. Yeah, so I had stayed up later than normal, so maybe that contributed to like the sleeping later, but usually Jade doesn't care. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So I'm feeling good though. I slept, I mean, I got like 6.5 hours of sleep. Unheard of. So today though should be pretty good. I haven't yet done my past pages because my normal early morning writing time was taken up with sleeping. So that wasn't, you know, that was good. But I do need to do that first, and then we'll get back to the revisions on draft 2. I have a live stream a little later this afternoon, so we'll get to do that. And what else? Not too much else. So yeah, let's go ahead and knock out the past pages first. I remember yesterday I was like, maybe I'll do like extra past pages in the afternoon. I didn't at all. Didn't touch them. I didn't want to. So I need to do them for today. Let me do 20 pages. It'll take me less than an hour, and then we can get into the revision. So let's go ahead and get started. I have this dog in here with me. Yeah. She's been whining all morning for something. Nobody knows what she wants, but she's been like just whiny. What do you want? What? I don't know what you want.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
All right, let me get these past pages going. The annoying thing, these past pages feel like editing Final Boss. Like, it feels like the final exam. Because they're like, hey, there maybe are some problems here. Take a look. But it's like 360 pages of like, maybe there's an issue on this page. It feels like a test that I'm going to hand in to be graded. And I really want the answer key. I want the answer key when I'm done with this, but there is no answer key. The other thing I really want to see is what the other proofreaders find. Like, I want to compare, like, how close did I get to being correct? And it's like, I don't think they're going to send me the PDF that the other proofreaders looked through, like, with their notes or whatever. Like, I don't think I get to see that. Maybe if I asked, they would send it to me, but I don't think they, like, what would they... There'd be no reason to send it to me. What am I going to do? Disagree that they found a mistake, you know? I think that's the other thing that's like frustrating me about the past pages is I feel like I don't get to know what the right answer is. It's so silly. Let me finish this for today. I'm on page 99 and I have to get through page 79. I think so far also, this is the only part of the whole publication process that I've been through thus far. This is the one part of it that I kind of am like, okay, like I would be happy to just sort of like be done with this. Like, I don't want to spend more time on this. I'm not like enjoying this like I did with copy edits or line edits or the dev edits or any of that stuff. I've enjoyed everything else. This is the one part of the process where I'm kind of like, I don't hate it. It's just kind of boring. and like I said, I don't get to know what the right answer is. So anyway, yeah. Most of this I've been very cool with and having a good time. I'm not like having the best time with this. I'm not having the worst time. But it's definitely not my favorite part so far. Alright, I'm done with the past pages for today. Yay. I have then been procrastinating a little bit. It's almost 11:30, so I'm gonna get started on chapter 17, I promise. This is kind of a couple things. It's a reaction chapter from the heroine's POV to what happened in the previous chapter, and then we have a little bit of a time jump to that evening, and we get an invitation to find out some more information, so that's fun. I hope. One of the main things I'm going to try to do in this first little section of the chapter is bring a conversation that in the current draft takes place in chapter 40. And as I was writing it, I was like, I think this needs to have happened like way earlier. So, and as I was then like rereading and making all of my notes and everything for this revision, I was like, yeah, I think that needs to happen earlier. So I'm going to try to pull out that conversation from chapter 40 and stick it into chapter 17. So wish me luck. I should be able to reuse a good chunk of it in terms of like the dialogue and the wording and everything. But the context here is slightly different than it was in chapter 40. So we'll have to fiddle. So that's the main thing that I'm fixing in this chapter. So let's get going and see how far I can make it. This chapter's pretty short at the moment. It's only about 1,200 words. So I'm sure I can add to it. I'm adding to a lot of these chapters in Act 2, which is a little scary because they were already a little lengthy, and I'm making them even more lengthy by quite a bit. Oh no. It's fine. It's a problem for a future Meredith. Alright, let me get started in chapter 17. All right, I've added in this little conversation in the first portion of this chapter. I think it works okay. I'm sure I'll reread it later and be like, fixing stuff. But anyway, it's fine for now. I'm going to go into the second little half of this chapter. I think this one is pretty good. And I mean, I'm sure I'll fix up some little things, but I don't have major notes for this portion. Most of my notes on this chapter were in that second, or in the first half. So anyway, it is though 12:30. I'm going to take a little break, get some lunch, and then hopefully finish up chapter 17 pretty quickly. All right, I'm done with chapter 17. Chapter 18. I'm going to take a little break because it's 1:35. I have my live stream at 2. Chapter 18, I'm going to go ahead and move on to that. This one is about 2,000 words, and this is a big scene because we get a lot of sharing of backstory. I think, I should probably know this, but I think the reader already knows like a good chunk of this by now. So when I wrote the first draft, I hadn't incorporated backstory into the earlier chapters, but part of this revision is incorporating backstory into earlier chapters. So I think some of this I'll be able to tighten up a little bit. There's also elements of the backstory that I changed slightly. So I'll need to make sure that whatever's in this chapter lines up with the current version of the backstory. One of the main characters has been holding on to a secret, and he's finally gonna share it, even though there's a cost to it for him. So that's what's going on here. I'll do that in a little minute, but I'm going to stand up first. I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe unload the dishwasher, thrilling, and then I'll get ready for the live stream shortly. All right, the live stream is concluded and it's actually almost dinner time, so we're gonna wrap this up. I have had a very successful weekend. I didn't do any extra past pages like I said I was gonna maybe try to do, but that's okay. I'm on track, so I'll be finishing up those this week and sending off my book for the final time. It'll be like done, which is very exciting. I'm ahead on the draft 2 stuff, which I'm very happy about. And I'll just be trucking along with that through the week too. Real quick before I sign off, I do have to shout out a couple people who joined up over on Patreon this past week. Thank you so much to Tracy, Margie, and Susan for signing up. I really appreciate the support. All the money that I get through Patreon goes into a set aside bank account, and I only touch it if I'm using it for like writing related stuff. So all those funds are being used to support this little small business I have going for myself now. So once again, thank you so much for that. And if you'd like to find a new friend writing epic romantic fantasy, I will link below to Susan's social media stuff. She is writing epic romantic fantasy. So if that's something that interests you, please do go check her out. If you liked this vlog, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, you can click the subscribe button. I usually post videos on Fridays. It is June by the time you're seeing this, which is very exciting. And I am hoping that I have some fun updates for you in the coming weeks. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye.